Hello, my name is Christina Wells, and tonight I will be talking to you about food-related digital media. When I ended up in the food writing group, this is the question that kept popping into my head. How is the digital world impacting the way that we access our food-related content? I can tell you that the digital food world has had a great impact on my life. Thanks to the creators of digital food media, I've become a fairly decent cook over the past few years. I went from catching pots on fire to owning a pretty serious set of knives that I'm still surprised have not landed me in the emergency room. So, tonight I'd like to welcome you into this digital food media world and give you a tour of some of my favorite resources. Much of the food writing world used to be a one-way street, where the content moved from the publishers and producers out to the consumers. This is no longer the case. Social media has greatly impacted the way that we interact with our information sources today. Now we expect to not only receive information, but also to contribute our own, and to interact with the information providers as well as with other information seekers. As a result of these expectations, food content producers have had to rethink the ways that they deliver food-related content to their consumers. Now, we have a plethora of ways to access food-related content through non-traditional mediums. My presentation will focus on these mediums, like blogs, full-suite digital services, websites, videos, and apps. First up, I'm going to talk about blogs, a truly original creation born in the digital media world. In a Huffington Post article, author Alison Spiegel explains the appeal of the food blog for both the bloggers and their readers. Spiegel explains that food bloggers occupy a different space and serve a different purpose than the spaces occupied by the so-called professionals. The blog space enables food bloggers to bring intimacy to food-related content. Spiegel goes on to say that food bloggers are responsive, interacting with their readers in a way that many publications cannot. Considering all this, food blogs seem like a great way to satisfy our desires for more and more food content. However, it can be very difficult to wade through the flood of food blogs out there. Fortunately for us, one of the most respected publications in the food world, Saveur, has developed a ranking system that identifies the best food blogs on an annual basis. Saveur categorizes the food blogs into 13 different groups and awards 2 winners for each category, one generated from online ballots and another chosen by the editors. They also award one lucky blogger the title of Blog of the Year. Next up, I'm going to discuss what I consider to be full-suite digital services, because these websites are more than just that. They offer users a multi-platform, multimedia, multi-content experience. I'm going to begin with allrecipes.com. The All Recipes website is a one-stop shop for all sorts of food-related content. They began with a free crowdsourced recipe database, and after accumulating a considerable number of recipes, they used this information to create web portals for specific recipe interests. You can find portals dedicated to different meal courses, varied main ingredients, styles of cooking, and even by holiday. One of my favorite portals focuses on trusted brands. In here, you can find all of those recipes tucked under the lids, on the labels, and on the boxes of your favorite brands. I love this feature because I always want to save that recipe, but if I clipped it the moment I had that idea, I'd leave a gaping hole in the packaging that wouldn't work out so well in the fridge or cabinet. Then, inevitably, by the time the product has been consumed, I either forgot to cut out the recipe or my husband tossed the package out, not knowing that I wanted the information on it. If this happens to you too, All Recipes is the place to go for all that lost information. If you sign up for a free account, you can rate and store your favorite recipes, create shopping lists, plan your menus, and for an additional charge, you can even take online cooking classes. In my opinion, this is one of the greatest developments in the digital food world. All Recipes also has a heavy presence in social media on YouTube, and even in print through their annual magazine subscriptions. This multi-service digital developer provides a lot of the digital content any home cook might want or need, mostly for free. Next up, I want to take a look at BigOven.com. The Big Oven website offers many of the same features found on All Recipes, including category and keyword recipe searching, recipe storage, a shopping list area, and a menu planner. I really like Big Oven's shopping list because of its sort feature. When I pull up the shopping list in the mobile app, it actually sorts those items into logical groupings that usually correspond with different areas and aisles in the store. This really saves me time and cuts down on how many of those impromptu, not so healthy impulse purchases that end up in my cart. So really, Big Oven saves me money and wasted calories. The Big Oven website also has a really cool database search feature. that helps you to use up your leftovers. You can put in up to 3 ingredients, and the search engine will produce a results list with recipes that contain those ingredients. This feature could really help families cut down on food waste. It's these types of features that make the mobile food content world exceptionally rich, because they enable people to search for recipes in ways inaccessible through the traditional cookbook format. Next up, I'm going to focus on some websites. The first website I'm going to look at presents itself as a food community, a place where cooks can come together from all over and exchange recipes and ideas and to support each other in the kitchen. The Food 52 website accomplishes this through their columns: recipes, contests, 24-hour hotline, and provisions, their online store that features food-related consumer products. I tend to gravitate toward the columns section of the website, which features highly curated articles by staff writers on all sorts of different food-related topics. One of my favorites is the Down and Dirty column, where I learn about sometimes obscure foods and how to incorporate them into my life. Sometimes the only thing preventing me from trying something new is all the unknowns on how to actually prep and cook it. This column really helps to remove a lot of those fears. When it comes to the recipes section of the Food 52 website, it differs from other crowdsourced recipe databases because the website owners really wanted to distinguish themselves from other recipe collection providers, like All Recipes and Big Oven. They have done this by publishing in a highly curated format only those recipes that meet Food 52's professional staff recipe testers' high quality standards. The next website I want to introduce tonight is actually temporary in nature, but it's dear to my heart, so I want to bring it to your attention. We're going to take a look at National Geographic's new web portal dedicated to food media. In typical Nat Geo fashion, you can find scholarly articles about anything and everything related to food. I particularly like this website because around the same time I took up an interest in cooking, I also took up an interest in our food supply system. I wanted to learn more about the foods I was eating. And as I started to dip my toe into these subjects, I found out about some of the major food issues we are facing today, which only increased my desire to learn more. I wanted to understand the war over genetically modified foods and the impact that hormones and antibiotics have on our food supply and on us. I also wanted to learn more about sustainable farming techniques and figure out why I might want to shop locally or buy organic goods and what exactly does that organic label mean and who's checking all this stuff anyway. If these questions have ever weighed on your mind, then Nat Geo's new food portal is just the place for you. Here you can find the latest news and research that's all about food. In the plate section, National Geographic explores our complex relationship with what we eat and where our food comes from. The other sections available, like photography, video, experiences, and magazine, appear to have been created under the wider umbrella of the Nat Geo organization, but then grouped by content within the food portal. I really appreciate this, as I haven't found another source that brings together this sort of information all in one place, at least not one that I trust as much as I do Nat Geo. Now I would like to talk to you about food-related videos. Have you ever come across a cooking recipe that has some sort of technique listed that you have no idea how to actually do, like breaking down a full chicken or twining a roulade or cubing a butternut squash? During my cooking journey, I've encountered problems like these on many occasions, and I learned early on that people will post almost anything on YouTube. And fortunately for me, that includes cooking techniques. Thanks to YouTube, I learned how to properly slice a mango and pit an avocado with minimal waste. I even learned the easiest and quickest way to dice onions. YouTube really works best when you know exactly what it is you want to learn about. If you attempt to browse for instructional cooking techniques, you will be inundated with a ton of videos, most of which won't even be anything close to what you thought would come up in that search. But if you do want to browse or learn some basic techniques, then I would advise looking up specific channels on YouTube for well-known cooking authorities. Some of my favorites include Epicurious, The Cooking Channel, Food.com, Gordon Ramsay, King Arthur Flour, and America's Test Kitchen. Okay, wrapping up for tonight, I'm going to talk about food-related apps. Just like the internet, the app world is also overrun with food-related content that can come or go in an instant. As such, when doing my research, I tried to focus on content that was available during this past year. I also decided to focus more on the content and quality of the apps as opposed to cost. Additionally, not all apps are available for both Android and iOS, and this is something important to find out when recommending apps. So, I will inform you of all of these finer details when conducting my reviews. Apps are an incredible addition to the digital food world. They have so many capabilities that either enhance or add to the different types of media already discussed tonight that they truly warrant their own category. You can find food apps entirely dedicated to finding food, from price to location to delivery area to cuisine type to reviewer ratings to anything you can think of, really. You can find food apps that help you figure out what fruits and vegetables are in season, where the local farmers markets are, and what brands have committed to using organic methods or those that don't use GMOs. There are so many different kinds of food related apps out there that I probably could have done an entire presentation on just those alone. As such, I'm going to go over 2 apps specifically related to cooking, because I really only have time to give you just a taste of what's possible in the app world. First, I'm going to look at a high-quality cooking app, Jamie Oliver's 20-Minute Meals by Zolmo. British chef Jamie Oliver has created an app that includes 65 recipes that take approximately 20 minutes to prep and complete. You can think of this app as a seriously digitally enhanced cookbook because you can add recipes to your shopping cart that will then provide you with a list of ingredients sorted by aisle, so you'll be sure to pick up everything at the store. Then, as you are preparing the recipe, Jamie provides a high-quality photograph at the end of each and every step, so you can quickly see where you might be heading off the reservation into the "this meal won't be coming out quite right" territory. Additionally, Jamie has included 21 videos with useful tips, tricks, and kitchen skills that will help you improve your cooking speed as well as your culinary know-how that you can then apply to any dish, not just those found in this app. You can buy Jamie's 20-Minute Meals app for Android for $6.79 or for $5.99 for iOS devices. Next up, I'm going to take a look at a recipe organization app, the Paprika Recipe Manager by Hindsight Labs. The Paprika app excels at facilitating mobile recipe management, and it takes recipe preparation to a whole new level. It starts with their built-in web browser. Once you find a recipe that you like, you tap a button that initiates the download process. The app then analyzes the recipe in order to make it interactive during recipe execution. Once you have imported recipes, you can organize a meal plan for a week or a month, and you can even design reusable menus from your favorite meals. As you choose the recipes that you want to cook, Paprika creates a shopping list for you. The app will analyze your list, combining like items so that you know the total number of eggs, cups of milk, or pounds of flour you will need to accumulate in order to have all the supplies necessary to cook all of your chosen apps. This comes in really handy during the planning phase of a Christmas cookie baking weekend extravaganza. Additional interactive features that help facilitate my cookie making season include the pin feature, the timer, ingredient scaler, and progress tracking. Paprika gives you the ability to pin active recipes so you can easily switch between them. Very rarely do we cook only one thing when making meals, yet most recipe apps only allow you to focus on one recipe at a time. Paprika also automatically detects timers in your directions. All you need to do is tap one to start it. Another very useful feature when making multiple recipes. You can also cross off ingredients in your list as you use them, and highlight the current directions step in order to keep on top of your progress with each recipe. And probably the most useful feature is the ingredient scaler. Well, at least in my opinion, due to my general math handicap. This feature allows you to scale up or down the number of servings you want to create, which will then adjust the measurements of the ingredients you need to make your chosen amount. You can find Paprika in the iTunes App Store and the Google Play Store. You can also find Paprika for Kindle Fire on Amazon and for the Nook on BarnesandNoble.com. The app costs $4.99 on all of the different platforms. That, ladies and gentlemen, concludes my presentation for this evening. Thanks for taking this tour with me through the digital food media world.